So some interesting insights from the Hockey India League auctions, and it appears that nobody cares for goalkeepers and defenders anymore. All the love is for forwards and the creative midfielders. Is this what's going to happen in the future as well?
Yeah, I think this is, shall we say, it's a welcome change actually. Overtly defensive teams. I mean, in hockey you actually can't be too defensive anyway. But Germany is considered defensive. They can sit on a 1-0 scoreline. But in this particular auction, a German, Moritz Fürste, he has taken $105,000 bidding. That is for being a midfielder. So if you look at the rules which we had discussed, the forwards and the midfielders are going to be the new generation, you know.
Rock stars.
Yeah, they are the rock stars. I really feel sorry for the defenders because nobody's looking at them, which actually also makes you understand the sport in a way that, so how are the defenders going to function? How are they going to work their brains around if they are not going to be accepted as part of an increasing tribe of scorers and creative guys? You know, and defenders can be creative. Why not?
And you know, traditionally your good defenders are also your penalty corner specialists. So you knew that, okay, I'm going to get defense from him for much of the game, and on those 3 or 4 occasions where I've got a penalty corner, this guy is going to go in and score, or going to set it up, whatever. Now that penalty corners are not as important, that role becomes redundant. So you'd much rather rely on a specialist defender who's not a penalty corner specialist. And even a penalty corner specialist, you don't need him anymore. You know, your forwards can do that for you, because
I think if you're saying what you're saying, and you go back to 1990, you know, there was a gentleman by the name of Bovelander, played the 90 and the 94 World Cup, also played, I think, even after that. I think he will be hugely disappointed because his prowess was penalty corners. You know, they used to beat him on the break. Shahbaz Ahmed, Wasim Firoz, Tahir Zaman, the guys who were in the final, Pakistan, they used to beat him constantly. But they used to say, you can beat him, but don't give him a PC. Because the moment you get a penalty corner, and he won the World Cup in Lahore for Holland by scoring 2 penalty corner goals. That particular breed of player who was just a penalty corner expert, I think is probably going to get extinct from this game. Now you need somebody who's an excellent defender. Let me put it in terms of, again, you're going to accuse me of being a Chelsea fan, but let me put it in terms of, you need a John Terry defender, you know, who's absolutely solid, who stands there, who understands forwards, who knows how to take the ball away.
right.
So I think a Pargat Singh, who was excellent in terms of finding out how the ball is going to roll when Shahbaz used to come, and Shahbaz has rated him one of the best, he is going to be here and surviving. The rest, I think, is going to vanish.
Coming back to the auction results, let's put it this way. So 3 Germans at 100,000 or near about there. Some Australians in the 50-odd thousand range. Indian players did all right. Those who were in the national team tended to go in the 40 to 60,000 range, with Sardar Singh at $58,000. But who's the surprising standout among the Indian players for you?
I think it was Akashdeep at 80,000 plus. I actually thought Sardar would probably go for around 60, 65. I didn't think he would go for 75, which was his original price 3 years back when the league started. He has aged, there's no doubt about that. And he's taken on too much of a workload in the last 3 years, so it's showing in his game now. But Akashdeep, whether it was Terry, whether it was Tom, they all felt that he had the subtle skills of a forward, which means going back to the 70s.
Yeah, and more important, I think he's also just 21 or something like that.
He's 21 and he can score. He scores of deflections. He scores of balls zipping into the circle, and you don't know, where it's going.
With these rule changes, he becomes a lot more dangerous than he was earlier.
He gets 3 deflections in. According to the rule changes, that's 6 goals. So that's 6-0.
Looking at those who didn't do too well, some of the Japanese defenders, some of the Malaysian players, I know you thought that, who was that? Bala Subramaniam. I thought you thought that he'd do well, but it didn't happen.
No, I think what happens is normally you're going to go for the stars first. You're going to go for, I would say, you're going to go for the German players. 3 German players crossing $95,000 may not seem big in any other sport, but here it is big simply because Germans technically are perfect. They are workhorses. They understand the sport a lot. And if you're going to pick up Moritz for the center midfield position, he's excellent. Florian Fuchs is probably one of the youngest and the most brilliant forward in the world right now. He knows how to score. Tobias is again a midfielder who can also defend like you were saying right now. Now they have picked up 3 of the best technically gifted players. Apart from that, once you get all of these in, Akash Deeps and Rupinder Pal Singhs and the rest, whether it is Swan who's Australia again going for $60,000, the ones who will remain at the end are going into the reserve area, sorry. And from there they will be picked up according to the needs of a team. So if there is a left out which is required, they'll pick up from there at whatever price they want. Yeah, that's how it will happen.
So personally, do you think that this is a step forward for the Hockey India League?
I think the league is going to get better because you're going to get more scores. People who haven't followed the auction, who haven't followed the rules, suddenly might wake up on a January, February morning and see a scoreline of 14-2 or probably something like an 18-5 or 18-6, which is going to be like, they're going to start reading what the hell has happened to hockey. That is probably going to drive in a lot of people. Fans are going to grow. But what I'm excited about is that if you have this sport and this league on television, Star, let's put it that way, it's going to get a higher viewership. Once you get a higher viewership, these players, these very players who are doing $105,000 now, when the next auction happens, I wish they go 200, 300,000, because by then the complexion, the whole face of the game would probably have changed and it would have become a sport which is exciting, innovative, and you see lots of goals.